Fellow Toastmasters, guests. This morning when we were saying the Pledge of Allegiance, as we do every week, where was your head at? Was it on the words that you were saying? Were your eyes on the flag? Or were you worried about, oh, I got a speech, I gotta worry about being a timer. What's the table topic's gonna be today? Oh, what was my grocery list that I gotta pick up on the way out of here before I get to work? 60 million children in our public school system are gonna say that Pledge of Allegiance this morning. You've probably been saying it since you started public school. But do you know why? Where it came from? The history? I didn't either until yesterday. In 1888, +20 years after the end of the Civil War, patriotism, nationalism was fading a little bit. And James Upman, who worked for a magazine called the Young Companion, which was a patriotic news publication at the time, circulated across America. He had a vision to put an American flag in every public school. And he did this through selling them through his magazine, getting the children that read the magazine to actually convince the people at their school to buy a flag. And over the course of 4 years, he had sold 26,000 flags. But his mission wasn't done. And in 1892, he had an epiphany. He knew that the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus discovering America was coming up. And he decided he was going to leverage that to get the American school system on board with having flags. And so he enlisted the help of a man named Francis Bellamy. And together, Bellamy wrote the initial Pledge of Allegiance, and then they published it in their magazine, along with a call for a national celebration on Columbus Day to include the flag, a flag-raising ceremony, and a Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Bellamy met with the National Organization of School Superintendents in September, and within a month had gotten approval, not just from our public school system, but from the President of the United States at the time, President Harrison, to have this ceremony. And he got to work getting the flags and the pledge out to the schools. And on that day, on Columbus Day in 1892, all across America, children stood as the flag was raised, and they said, "I pledge allegiance to my flag." "And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all." It's a little bit different than what we say today. And that was pretty well received and became the status quo across our nation's public schools. In 1923, at the National Flag Conference, they officially adopted Bellamy's pledge as the Pledge of Allegiance for the United States. They wrote it down, but they changed the words "my flag" to "the flag of the United States," because they didn't want immigrants to be confusing their loyalties amongst their home country and the United States. In 1924, they added the words "of America," so I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to the flag of the United States of America. And then in 1942, Congress recognized flag code as law, but officially adopted the Pledge of Allegiance. However, as you saw, originally the salute to the flag was your hand held out, and then you turn it up at the end. Well, this closely resembled the Nazi salute. And so in December of 1942, 15 days after Pearl Harbor was bombed, they changed the salute to what we now do as a hand over our heart. And then at the last change, at the height of communism, McCarthyism, the Red Scare in 1954, the words "under God" were added to the Pledge of Allegiance. Now there's a lot of controversy over the addition of those words, and that's an entirely, that's a whole speech in and of itself. We're not going to get into that today. But I would just ask that the next time you are faced with taking the Pledge of Allegiance, take a moment, reflect on what exactly you're saying, the words that you're embracing by standing with your hand over your heart. You're taking an oath, a morally binding oath if you choose to say those words. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America. It's a beautiful thing that we have the freedom to be able to do. Take it seriously, and thank you for your time.